She reaches for the milk carton, and suddenly her chest tightens as if something heavy is pressing down from the inside. Her breath shortens, and the bright grocery store lights seem to pull farther away with each heartbeat. A cold sweat breaks out on her palms while a single thought forms quicker than she can stop it. The thought arrives with total certainty that this time something inside her has finally gone wrong. I am going to die right here in the middle of aisle 4. Minutes pass while she grips the edge of the dairy shelf and waits for the world to stop narrowing around her. The pounding in her chest gradually softens, and her breathing steadies, even though the terror still lingers. She abandons her cart and walks out into the parking lot where the ordinary air feels foreign against her skin. The same thing happened 2 weeks ago in a coffee shop, and again last month while driving home. Each time her body convinced her that the worst was finally happening, and each time it did not happen. Yet the next attack arrives with a fresh sense of emergency, as if all previous survivals counted for nothing. How can something that leaves the body unharmed feel so absolutely and immediately life-threatening? The short answer begins with the body's built-in alarm system, designed to protect against physical danger. When a real threat appears, a network deep in the brain sends an urgent signal to prepare for action. This response can happen in milliseconds, long before conscious thought has time to catch up. During a panic attack, that same survival circuitry fires even though no charging animal or falling object is present. The racing heart, dizziness, and tight chest are the body preparing for a fight that is not actually needed. The conscious mind feels these intense changes and searches for a cause, often landing on the worst possible explanation. A pounding heart becomes evidence of a heart attack, and shallow breathing signals that the air is running out. If catastrophic misinterpretation were the whole answer, then simply knowing the truth would end the terror. Many people who experience panic attacks have been reassured over and over that their heart is healthy. They can recite the facts during a calm moment and still feel certain they are dying when the next wave hits. Something deeper than a simple mistake keeps the alarm ringing even after the explanation is in place. The fear becomes less about the physical sensation and more about the fear of the fear itself. After the first unexpected panic attack, the brain does something that makes future attacks more likely. It learns to treat internal body signals as warning signs of an upcoming disaster. A slight flutter in the chest, or a moment of breathlessness, can now trigger the full cascade of fear. This process is called interoceptive conditioning, and it connects harmless sensations directly to the survival alarm. Over time, the threshold drops, and even normal bodily changes, like standing up quickly, can set off the response. The system that evolved to detect external predators becomes hyper-aware of the body's own quiet signals. Now, the danger is not outside in the environment, but inside under the skin, where it is impossible to run from. The urge to escape becomes overwhelming, but there is nowhere to go because the threat seems to be the body itself. Each attack adds another layer of proof to the brain's hidden conclusion that these sensations cannot be endured. The fear deepens not because the sensations grow stronger, but because the mind learns to fear them more. The natural response to this learned fear is to avoid anything that might spark the familiar sensations. A person might stop exercising because a racing heartbeat feels too similar to the beginning of an attack. Crowded places get crossed off the list because escape feels harder when surrounded by strangers. Even a warm room can become a trigger if it once accompanied a moment of feeling lightheaded and trapped. But avoidance does more than shrink a life map. It also teaches the brain that the avoided situation really is dangerous. Safety behaviors like sitting near an exit or carrying a water bottle can become silent confessions of danger. These small precautions send a message deep into the alarm system that the next attack could come at any moment. The brain learns the lesson well and stays on high alert scanning the body for the first sign of trouble. The very effort to stay safe keeps the alarm rehearsing its response over and over again. The circle tightens into a trap where shutting out the fear actually locks it more firmly in place. Not everyone who experiences a racing heart or a dizzy spell develops this escalating loop of fear. Some people notice the same bodily shifts and interpret them as harmless or even energizing. A key factor is something researchers call anxiety sensitivity, the tendency to believe that anxious sensations are damaging. If you believe a racing heart means your heart is straining, you will react with more fear than someone who merely finds it uncomfortable. This belief acts like a filter that turns up the volume on every physical signal the body produces. Anxiety sensitivity can grow from past experiences, but it can also be shaped by what we learn from the people around us. Seeing a parent react with extreme alarm to a brief chest pain can teach a child that such sensations are catastrophes. Once that filter is in place, the same level of physical arousal feels dramatically more threatening. The body's volume knob gets stuck on high even when the recording itself has not changed. That is why two people can experience nearly identical internal sensations, yet one feels panicked while the other feels merely annoyed. Here is the puzzle that clinical researchers have been exploring for decades. People caught in the panic cycle try desperately to push the sensations away, yet the fear only tightens its grip. But if they deliberately invite the very sensations they dread, the fear often begins to loosen. Carefully structured exercises that produce a rapid heartbeat or a dizzy feeling can teach the brain a new lesson. Spinning in a chair to induce dizziness or breathing through a narrow straw to create breathlessness are examples of this approach. At first, the brain sounds the alarm as usual because the sensations feel like an emergency. But when no catastrophe follows and the sensations pass on their own, the brain begins to update its danger prediction. Over repeated sessions, the alarm learns that these internal signals are not threats but harmless bodily noise. The crucial ingredient is the passing of time without the feared outcome happening. This process is not about proving willpower, but about giving the brain a chance to gather disconfirming evidence. The deeper lesson that emerges from this clinical work changes how we understand the panic experience entirely. During a panic attack, the body is not actually in any physical danger, and the alarm system is not broken. The system is doing exactly what it was designed to do in the presence of what it has learned is a dangerous signal. What makes the panic feel so lethal is not the racing heart or the dizziness in isolation. It is the desperate struggle to make the sensations stop, combined with the belief that they are intolerable. Fighting the sensations sends the alarm system an urgent memo that the threat must be catastrophic. Every attempt to push the feelings down inflates their importance in the brain's threat detection hierarchy. Trying to control the uncontrollable creates a feedback loop where effort becomes evidence of danger. The more you fight, the more your brain believes there is something worth fighting. The terror burns brighter because it is fed by the very act of resisting it. This brings us to the heart of why panic attacks feel dangerous, even when they always pass. The attack convinces you that you are about to die not because your body is failing, but because your mind is fully mobilized to survive. The sense of impending doom is real in that moment, not as a medical fact, but as an emotional and cognitive hurricane. Your system is screaming that you need to escape from a threat that lives entirely inside your own reaction. The danger is not a stopped heart or a collapsed lung, but the fear-soaked conviction that those things are inevitable. And that conviction is so powerful that it generates a full-body emergency drill each time the alarm is triggered. The panic feels like a near-death experience because that is exactly what your brain is rehearsing. But it is a rehearsal for a disaster that never gets past the opening scene. When the struggle stops, even for a moment, the alarm begins to register that no real damage is occurring. Understanding this does not erase the sensations or make the next attack easy. It does, however, offer a small hidden door in the middle of the storm. If the danger is the struggle, then the least dangerous thing you can do is allow the sensations to be as they are without adding action. This is not about relaxing away the panic, but about stepping back from the fight. Think of the wave metaphor often used to describe emotions waves: rise, peak, and then recede all on their own. A panic attack is a wave of false alarm, and the shore is always right where the body already stands. When you notice the racing heart and the tight chest, and you label them as what they are, an alarm, misfiring, you remove fuel from the fire. The alarm may still sound for a while, but without the struggle, it begins to lose its power to terrify. Over time, the brain learns that the signals are not commands, they are just noise from a sensitive but well-intentioned security guard. Many people who practice this shift discover that the attacks become shorter and less frequent without directly trying to stop them. Now return to the grocery store where a woman stands in aisle 4 with her hand still resting on the dairy shelf. Her heart is racing, and the lights look strange again, but something small has changed inside her awareness. She remembers that her body has sounded this alarm before, and that the alarm always shuts itself off. Instead of abandoning the cart, she leans against the handle and waits while the wave rolls through her. The wave does what waves do: it reaches a peak, and then it begins to fall away, leaving her standing in the same aisle. The milk carton is still cool in her hand, and the world is still turning, and this time she is still there.